All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. Okay, I'm inside in my very expensively hydro place. So I got that hydro bill this morning, 357.05 for 2 months. Um, that's pretty expensive. So something I haven't told you guys is how much I'm actually paying down here. Okay, so I calculated that I would need about $1,200 a month to live in both places or use this place and that. So I paid about 400 a month up there. Okay, and for rent down here, I paid 200. Yeah, that's what I'm paying. So it's 600 a month right there in rent. I know most people are like, wow, that's amazing. Some people are like, well, is it worth it? It is worth it. It's definitely worth it to me. I'd have to do it. Like if I have to choose one place or another, I'd have to actually choose down here because it's kind of like with that many people in the house, 5 people in the house, it's a bit much, right? I'd never be able to play my music again with everybody there because there's always people there all the time, so I don't get any. You know what I mean? Like I can't play my drums when my dad's in the house or anybody else is in the house. Can't play my guitars, right? Like I can play them unplugged, but I can't practice, can't do so that. So if that decision had to be made, this is where I'd move everything down here, but that'd be a pain in the ass, right? So 200 a month, that's $2,400 a year extra that I got to come up with, plus the hydro, right? So the hydro right now, um, is going to go up again 2 more times. So I'm anticipating paying up to $400 or about $200 a month, which would be another, if you averaged it all out throughout the year, the highs and lows, it's probably going to come up somewhere between $2,400 and $3,600 a year to run the hydro in here. If I do nothing about the baseboard heaters. So that's not that bad, but it is a hit. And I mean, it was late in the season when I got everything all sorted out. So, will I be able to make it through the winter? Well, I should. It's going to be tight. It's going to be so tight. If I get no more work whatsoever, I'm good till February, March, January, February, March. I should be good till then. And that's the hardest, and usually work starts picking up a little bit more in April than March. But if I have a little bit of work till then, I should be okay. Like if I could make, I doubt I'll make $1,200 a month. So far this month, I'm at about 300 or so, or about halfway through the month. So not quite half of my living expenses, but or not quite a quarter, around a quarter of what I would need to get ahead. You know what I mean? Or to break even. Sorry, to get ahead, that'll take over $1,200 a month. So it doesn't mean I pay $1,200 every month. It's just if you average it out, getting the hydro bill every 2 months, and and it's not just the hydro, and like if it was just the hydro and the rent, it's only about $800. So that's not too bad. But there's other things that come into the cost of living too, right? So $1,200 is like the safe zone that I know I'm not going to run into any problems. And anything over $1,200 is gravy on, gravy, whatever. Because I still have to get things like start saving up for my driver's license renewal, my insurance and stuff like that. Even though it's not till next year, but I mean, if I like if like I don't. I'm not one of those people that wait till the bill comes in, then thinks about how I'm going to pay it. You know what I mean? I'm like 6 months in advance to a year in advance. So as soon as I pay for example, my driver's license and all that, first thing I do is start saving up for next year. You know, um, and if I'm lucky, I always have the cash ready to go. If I, again, like the money I have that I currently have, right? It's all spoken for. So it's like, it looks like I got money, but I don't have money. Because if I were just to spend it stupidly, I'll be, penniless, right? And that doesn't take much to become penniless, especially in this day and age. So I'm going to get, not next week, but the week after, I'm going to get, I got 2 more work days at my clients while she's there, and then at one client, and she's kind of like the last client on the list for the season. I don't know how much I'll be able to help at the school, but it's a little bit each week. And even just that little bit, like $50, make $50 or $60 or $75 or whatever it is at the school once a week is enough to kind of keep me off the rocks a bit. I don't get ahead, but I don't fall behind as much. So I'm not tapping into my savings. Um, so, like for example, this hydro bill, I got lucky that I have 2 GST checks uh, that will probably cover that bill. So that means I don't have to tap into my savings to pay the bill, or my, like my winter savings, or tap into my automotive savings, right? Because I really want to be able to get a car soon. Even if I can't, I don't mind. I can wait the winter for another vehicle. The more money I have, the more choice I have, right? So unless a really good vehicle pops up right away and it's just like, hey, Reg, look, this thing runs great. The reason for selling is that we got 3 vehicles, you know, and we don't need them. Otherwise, but that doesn't pop up all the time. That's kind of, one of those things that you got to, opportunity knocks kind of thing. So I guess the way I planned out this season, I mean, I got really in the crunch to get down here. Like it was like, because I wasn't sure if my brother was serious about moving up home or not, right? So, and exactly what time frame he didn't want to just try to do it overnight kind of thing, or, so he did little bits at a time, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But it's just like, okay, when you think, I'll be taking over the place, and it didn't happen until about September, right? So September, October, you know what I mean? Then now we're into December, right? November, December. So I took over the place about 3 months ago, and my brother canceled the hydro 2 months ago, and I put it on in my name the month after, right, or whatever. So what's happened is, right at the tail end of the season, and where I was just starting to get enough money to be able to do stuff, that money now had to be diverted to, basically having enough to get me through the winter. And that's where I'm at now. So, how much more work will I have in December? Probably not much more. How much in January? I'm not anticipating a lot of work in January. But you never know. It could snow a lot, and maybe somebody needs me to shovel. I just don't know if my body can take it. But if so, and without a vehicle, it's like, well, people have to come and get me or whatever. But I am prepared to sit out the winter, this winter, and just, kind of really take it easy. Uh, next to that, like, I mean, if I can get an early start on the spring or whatever, or get like a little job like I got last year, like last January, or beginning of 2025, last past 2 years, I've gotten like nice little jobs, you know, um, a little bit of extra work in January, which anything I make in January is just, it's just a bonus. It's not a calculated for, like, I calculate to be completely out of work by the end of October, and not back to work till about April, right? And usually it's like April, May. So I have to make a year's income, living expenses, in between basically April and October, for sure. Anything before or after that is just extra. You know what I mean? So it's not calculated in. So if I get a bonus of work before or after those dates, that just helps me out for the following year, right? Like it's just money you don't count on. And that's the thing when you don't have super stable income. I mean, yearly, you know what I mean? I don't have winter income like normal people do. And because I'm self-employed, I can't go on unemployment insurance or anything like that. So that makes life a lot tougher for guys like me. That said, that's why you got to plan out. So a lot of people think, that I spend foolishly and stuff like that, but I don't. Like when I say I'm broke, it means I don't have any disposable income. Doesn't mean my bills aren't going to get paid or anything like that. So it means, I put that stuff priority, right? Because, like for example, you pay your, like, don't wait like to till your bill comes in that then try to figure out how to pay it. You'll never do it. Like you'll always be broke. Even worse. So what I do is I pretend that money I get, I keep very little for myself, and I just kind of divert the money away to, okay, so much for this, so much for this, so much for this. I've explained it many times on the channel. It's a system that works really well for me, and if you try it yourself, you'll probably find it works well. But you have to be disciplined enough to like put away money and forget that you kind of have it, right? And just kind of go with the idea that it's already spoken for, because it is, right? Um, your goal should be to try to get at least 2 years expenses ahead on everything, like bills, everything like that. Most people can't do it. I understand it, because you have to employ a strategy that will allow you to do it. It might take you 5 years just to be able to get a year ahead. You know what I mean? Like that's the world we live in. Savings are not easy. You know what I mean? So depends how you spend. You know what I mean? And it depends who's also, like if you're like a single house income, but there's like many people living in the house. You know what I mean? That can make things harder, right? Down here, it's like this is not considered a natural resident. It's kind of like a cottage studio, everything else, right? And the really cool part about it is that I can do a lot here. It is worth it for me to take a little bit of a financial hit to, all the great things that I enjoy down here so far. Like, I mean, just the nostalgia of being in my grandmother and grandfather's place and stuff like that, playing, like, recording, having a place to do blogs and videos, even though it doesn't pay very much. I wish it did, but, who knows? Maybe if I can get a little extra cash, I can get a new laptop or something like that, and maybe internet down here at some point. That'd be cool. But for now, I'll just go with what I got and work with what I got. The other thing is that what I can do about the hydro being so high is what I spend in the winter, I'm not going to be spending in the summer. So once I haven't done it yet. My brother and I are going to do this, or my dad, or whoever. I could probably do it myself, but it's a lot easier if you got 2 or 3 guys. Is turn on all the lights, ever like that. Plug a lamp into every freaking socket I can. Turn everything on, and just go down and start flicking breakers. And when people say, "Oh, okay, that's out. Okay, what room you in?" Okay, um, and you can shut things off like during the summertime. Like if I could figure out where the baseboard heaters are all, I think they're all on their own circuit. I'd like to be able to just completely shut them off, so that under no circumstances are they, can they come on in the summertime, right? Because sometimes, if the wind blows on, I guess they're older or whatever. Sometimes that one there, I'll come in the morning, and this is like, when it's still like in the pluses, and that thing's just kicked on by itself. That's going to affect the hydro, right? The other thing is, if I can get a wood stove in here, I can guarantee you I can heat this place much cheaper than what I'm going to pay hydro. Like 3 months of hydro is going to be probably the cost of the wood if I were to buy it. Now, that said, I do own chainsaws. I do own some wonderful chainsaws. And right now, like this year, okay, I was too late to the system to cut the wood. You guys saw me, I tried, but I couldn't get around to it. early spring, I'm going to go find all the dead stuff, deadfall, nice and easy before all the foliage is there. And then you're trying to like find wood in the jungle, so to speak. I'll go find all the foliage, cut it up. I've already got a couple of cord head start on that, but I got to cut wood from my dad too and stuff like that. So like this summer coming, I don't want to be working 7 days a week because I want to be able to do stuff here. But all the trees I'm going to cut here, okay, I'll only get a season or two out of all the trees that I'm going to burn here in the like the stuff that I'm going to cut for that stove wood. But some of that stove wood, especially the Manitoba maple, might have to let it dry for 2 years, to really get it to burn. It all burns, it all burns, but, if you want it to burn well and you actually get some heat off of it, that's the problem with Manitoba maple. It doesn't kick off a lot of heat. But I got like all that poplar. There's about, between my dad and I'll bring some up there. The thing is, we don't burn a lot of poplar just because it's a softwood. And if you want a really quick fall fire, poplar is about the best you can get because it burns quick. There's not a lot, there's almost no ashes at the end of it, right? But if like you need like maple, birch, oak, like the real, I don't really like using birch that much because it just burns so dirty. But you do get okay. But oak, beech, and maple give you the best heat. Like unless you can get like a forest full of freaking not alders, but what do you call it? Hemlock. Yeah. Like if you had like 10 cord of hemlock, you'd probably burn like a cord a year. It's just that's the most dense wood you can get, right? So it'll burn. It'll burn pretty good. It kick off a lot of heat. You get a lot of BTUs. So that's something I'm going to do. But there is other things I'm going to experiment with. I can't quite do right now. But I'm going to experiment with cast iron stoves and candles. Just to see if I can get like even use a cast iron pot, doesn't matter, just something that's going to kick off a radiant, right? Now I know the law of thermodynamics. You can't get out more than you put in, but you can slow things from radiating out. So one thing, like for example, more candles. Next year I might have a beehive thing, so I'll have all the candle wax a man could ever want, right? And I already got a lot of candles, so like just heating the place with extra candles does help. I'm probably going to do it today. It just takes the damp out of the place. It doesn't heat the place, but it takes the damp. Once you take the damp out, then it doesn't take much to heat. But right now it's like 27% humidity. It's very low humidity. I'm almost worried about my instruments. Not quite, but almost. That's the problem with this kind of heat. It's pretty dry. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with the expenses. That's what I've had to. That was my race against the season, was to have enough money to get me through. I mean, I still got to do my Christmas shopping. I got to still figure out tomorrow what's the deal with that trailer. Whether I'm going to be dinged with some sort of a fee or something like that, or if it's like there's a murder investigation. Like I could be spending the Christmas in jail as a suspect. I don't know. Like I really have no idea. But it could be something as simple as that. Okay, well, it was illegally parked in Gatineau Park or something like that. And it's now we got to charge you $10,000 to dispose of it. Whatever it's going to be, right? I don't know because maybe it's like, okay, no, I'll give you the guy's name and the date that I sold it, and if you need a copy of it, his word against mine. If he does not, if you could find him, the only way you can track him down is like I don't think it'll be that hard for them to track him down. It's like is this going to cost me something? Like it usually always does. Like, why would the police bother you unless it was going to cost you something, right? So, just what is it going to cost me? Is it going to cost me money or freedom? What's it going to be? All I wanted to do was sell a trailer and get rid of it, and I didn't expect, cops showing up at my place at 10 o'clock at night to tell me that, hey, like you need to call this investigator now. Okay, great. What is it, the meth lab? Like, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about that one. I'm not panicked or worried about it. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. But, if it's under investigation, there's clearly something is happening, right? So it's just, How do I completely stay out of this? It's like, okay, no, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have to like put up some trail cams and wait till somebody goes by and see if you can get a license plate or something. Yeah. So anyway, however that plays out, that's going to play out. So I'll just keep moving forward until that time. But for down here, like we're still in December and we haven't hit that really. Like it's been -20 just about every morning now. So I have no doubt that middle of January we're going to be in that -30 to -40 kind of year. And we've already gotten a lot of snow for a December and for November. Probably the most I've seen in a long time. Thank God for global warming, right? Or we'd be really screwed. Um, but end of the day, no, I think I'll be able to manage here fairly well. It's just the extra hit I'll take in the winter, I'll have to make up for in the summer. So there's that. But that said, that's where it's at now. Mind you, the property taxes could go up, and the property taxes go up here. The rent's going to go up. Like I do have a breaking point. I'm not a wealthy man. It's just where's the breaking point going to be, and uh, and such, right? So it's like if I do have to move down here permanently, that's not a big deal. I'm not ready to do that yet. I haven't even slept here since I've been taken over the place. But it's like it's not like I haven't spent half my childhood here, right? So like it's like, oh wow, I slept here again. Wow, So for me, it doesn't really matter. But if I can stave off extra expenses, then next year I have more I can do out there, such as probably get some livestock, starting with like chickens, you know, and who knows? Like maybe at some point I get some extra cash and I can get a riding, maybe two riding horses, one for me and one for a guest, or take my nephew or whatever, riding horseback riding, whatever. Uh, I'm sure my cousins' daughters would love that. Oh, we gotta go see the horses. Gotta go see the horses. They'd love it. I'm sure they would love it. I could just see little Cammy on there, like she's like two, riding the horse around. That'd be cute. But I'm really comfortable so far. I don't seem to like as long as I play my hand the way I'm supposed to, I should be okay for the winter. But again, I could be hit with a $10,000 fine or something stupid because of this trailer's parked in the wrong spot because some guy didn't switch it over to his name after I sold it to him, right? Or maybe I get lucky in the offices. Okay, no, I'll put it down as completely abandoned, and you don't own it, and I'll just put it down as abandoned. Maybe they just want to see if it was stolen. Who knows? But my hunch is that it's going to cost me something. It's just what's it going to cost me? But anyway, yeah. So there's that. I'm going to. I got to get cleaned up today because what happened yesterday, I was just about to take my shower. My nephew came down, so I couldn't do it. So I got to do that earlier today. It's only 1 o'clock to now. I want to get back onto the drums because yesterday I did pretty good with the song Pinto. Sooner I get the drums done. I can't do the vocals tomorrow until the afternoon when I get back. So usually what I do is like I like to get down here, do a bunch of things, and then by say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, start my recording, and then do some reading before I go up home for about half an hour, or whatever. Just so you know, I got that much left to read. So hopefully another 2 days, 3 days tops, and then I can start the new book. I already sort of cheated and started, so technically I got 4 books on the go. But I only read a little bit last night just to kind of like break the curiosity thing. So okay, that book's good. I've got it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks from the library. Tomorrow, when I go up to Gracefield to pay my bills, so I made a really good decision this year of wiping out my credit card debt. just before the winter, because the phone or the hydro bill really is a big hit. That's roughly what I usually have to budget for my to get me through the winter for the credit card, right? But I don't have the credit card problem right now. In the spring, maybe I'll start adding stuff to the credit card. Um, I was just before I took on down here. Like I say, this came unexpected as an opportunity, right? So it was like my brother was moving out of here and he was moving in with us. I'm like, okay, well, what's going to happen down here? My dad's like, well, I don't know. Maybe bulldoze the place. I don't know. Like whatever. Like my brother made it sound a lot worse than what it was, but really, there's nothing wrong with the place. It's old, okay? So there's that. But there's nothing wrong with the place. It's not full of mold. It's not, it's not dangerous in here. What it was is it was a lifestyle problem. They just didn't clean the place. You know what I mean? And that's what you were smelling. It was the dogs, that kind of stuff. Right now, you don't smell the dogs anymore. Like I say, it takes about 8 months to really air out a place. About. You know, the more like a place can take on bad smells, but it can also take on good smells, right? So you can, keep up with the Pine Sol, Operation Pine Sol, stuff like that. Which you got to get going on that again pretty soon. I'm gonna do another sweep up and all that. Yeah, so like it doesn't take a long time. Like next season, I'll probably paint in here, just because like things are stained, like the walls are stained and stuff like that. Like my brother smokes, but he always smoked outside, so that they still do up there. Even my dad and my brother, they both smoke outside, so the ceiling isn't bad. Like when my grandfather used to sit here with his pipe, yeah, the ceiling was always yellow, completely yellow. It's been retiled, a couple of decades ago, and it was after he passed. So, but no, I really love it down here. I really do. Like I wake up in the morning, like I go to bed and I'm like, oh, okay, I hurry up, fall asleep so I can come back down here and do my stuff. Like I enjoy it, right? And then I go up home after, and spend quality time with the family and whatever. And it's like it's a great opportunity. The only question is, what snags could be thrown out in front of me to, make it so I can't carry on with the place. Like maybe the place gets condemned by the MRC for no reason other than, oh well, it's old, so we're just going to take it, because technically it's considered nobody living here, right? But it's like, well, yeah, but there is something. There's a hydro, it's like a second dwelling. It's like kind of like a cottage, right? So I think it'll be fine, but Murphy throws things at you all the time. Now, if this place ever does get bulldozed, what I would ask is, okay, well, if they bulldoze it, can I build something here? And the good news is this is property that's far enough away from the water, far enough away from the hydro. The septic is already in. Um, you know, Out of the ashes, I could resurrect something new if the rest of the family would say, okay, yeah, well, you can have this acre, or whatever. As my grandfather said that everybody got an acre. You know what I mean? Because he knew, he seemed to know that in the future, like land, because buy land because they're not making it anymore, right? And he was like, everybody gets an acre, right? And there's like 250 acres here. And most of it can be built on if you clear it, except for the mountain part. Like the mountain, well, you could build up there if you wanted, but that'd be a pain in the ass getting up there in the winter. Holy jeez, you'd never be able to do it. Yeah, you'd be sliding off the mountain. There are people that do that though. They're like in Wakefield there, everybody's driveways like that. I was like, how the hell do you freaking park in the winter? Like you can't get up that. You got to winch yourself up to the top or something. It's like when you go to the ski hill there, all the chalets. Like it's like getting up those hills. If it's even a little bit slick, it's hard to get up those hills, even in 4x4. I don't know how people do that live there all year round. It's like they mustn't go anywhere. It's just like just isolate. You buy everything you need for the winter and see you in the spring. But no, well, see, when my brother made the decision, like I say, I had to kind of scramble to see, what I could cut, what I could, what I could scrounge up. That's why I busted my ass so hard this year, 7 days a week, because I just, I really, and I still had to, invest in my business and stuff like that. You saw all the tools I bought and like that. So next year there's going to be more tools, backpack blower, maybe one more super chainsaw. Like I'd love to have like quite a few chainsaws, but like I can work, I can live if I have to live, let's say, the next 10 years with just the two saws I have. Need not want. Again, I love my chainsaws, but the whippersnippers and all that. Like I'm gonna see if I can get Snippy Shark going again. If he doesn't get going again, then maybe I gotta invest in another whippersnipper. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. You know, sometimes like you can wear these things out, right? And then of course I got the big brush cutter, which I love that thing. The brush minotaur, as they call it. So I bought some pretty expensive tools this year, and that could have went to savings, but it's like it's not really savings; it's an investment. Like the polearm chainsaw is about half paid for itself already, and I've barely used it with clients because I got it late, right? But my brush cutter slash whippersnipper that I bought this year has already paid for itself more than once. Uh, it's like working on its second time. So next year that thing is going to be just gravy, right? And then whatever other tools I get. So I know next year there's going to be a lot of chainsawing for me because I'm going to have to start cutting wood for my dad, but I got to get it cut before uh, my season starts getting really crazy because it's kind of like all or none for me. It's like, okay, yeah, you're out of work or you work 7 days a week, you know. But I'd like to be able to be at a comfortable level where I can save up and keep saving. Like, I mean, I'm still saving for a vehicle. I've got quite a bit saved for a vehicle, and I just haven't found the vehicle yet. But that said, once I get the vehicle, if I can get a vehicle that can last more than a year, like the next vehicle that breaks down, it's like, okay, it's going to be 5 years before I can buy another vehicle just because I won't have the money, right? There'll be no way for me to rack up that kind of money, even if I'm still saving when I get the vehicle. Let's say I bought a vehicle tomorrow morning, okay, and I spent all my money, all the insurance, everything's on it, and then a full tank of gas. Okay, now go make money with it. As soon as I make money, I'd start saving up again. Why? Because I know that vehicle is only going to last so long. And it might come to a point now where I can't buy American vehicles, right? Because it might be impossible to get parts for them. I think that's happening to a lot of vehicles where it's just like all this chaos in the economy and everything like that. People are like, okay, well, we can't quite get the parts right now, or if you can, they're like 4 times more expensive or 5 times more expensive than what they were. That's probably why I'm finding vehicles that are like, okay, it's $3 grand. Okay, that's the price is right. Okay, looks good, not too rusty. It's not too old, but it needs it needs a whole bunch of parts, right? Parts that it's kind of like no, like there's $1,500 right there. If it needs brakes, you're looking at $2 grand. You know what I mean? To $3 grand, depending on the vehicle, right? Yeah, well, just do it all yourself. Well, you can do so much yourself, but like brake lines and stuff like that. Like when you don't have the tools or a garage, you know what I mean? Like it's and time. Like this time of year, yes. If I have a garage, I'd have my trucks in there and I'd be working on them. Uh, but I mean, they need so much work. Like just the Thunder alone, like needs about $4 grand to work, and that's not even solving the problem. That was, you know what I mean. Like it's never as simple as just throw money at it. I wish it was, but it's like, okay, well, here, plug in your computer thing, code reader. Tell me what's wrong with it so I can fix it. Oh, it might be this. It might be that. Like even the code reader doesn't know, right? So I was like, what do you do? Like, do you throw money at that, or do you just take the loss, right? And especially on something that's in the shape that it's in. But it's going to need brakes. It's going to need emergency brake. So if you're going to do brakes, you're probably going to have to start budgeting for brake lines. You know what I mean? And it's tires are going to be due fairly soon. So and it's going to need a new windshield. It's going to need an exhaust. It's going to like that stuff. I mean, that stuff can get you north of $8 grand very fast, and you still got a rust bucket. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, when I get the $500 vehicles, you pretty much just drive them into the ground because the odds of you being able to recoup the money after the repairs is like slim to none. Like the silver pellet, I got a year out of that exactly, pretty much, almost to the day, and like, it was going to need, hundreds of dollars worth of work for something that might questionably just randomly die on me, right? So it's like you don't know, and when the vehicles are like 20 years old like that, you just you don't put any money to you drive them into the ground. Like anything above say 10 years old, even 10 years old. 10 years old, it's like, okay, 10 years, if you get the vehicle with no problems at 10 years old, you've probably got about 4 or 5 years before you got some major problem. That's assuming like everything's good to go, like the brakes and all that. 15 years and up, it's a time bomb. Just, you're either going to be able to run it or not. So don't pay too much for anything over 10 years old. You know what I mean? Anything under 10 years old, though, the problem is that it's, you know, going to be super expensive. And then there's like some sort of a sweet spot, I think, between 8 and 10 years old, where the vehicle, it's like, okay, it's old enough that if it's still on the road, it's proving that it can be on the road. Like a lot of people like make fun of my Dodges or whatever. Yeah, but you understand these vehicles are like 16 to 20 years old when I get them, right? If they break down, it's like you're asking a lot of any vehicle after 10 years to not break down, and be reliable. So let alone 20, 22-year-old vehicles, 21-year-old vehicles, 19-year-old vehicles. Asking those to run for more than 5 minutes is asking a lot, let alone getting 4 years out of one of them for $400, But sometimes gems like that do come up, but it's few and far between. And if you don't have a place to properly work on it, blah blah blah, you know the rest, right? So for next year, obviously, I'm going to have the budget for here. I have a house budget here, and that house budget is a couple of things. It's basically for renovations, say like painting or whatever. Something, the stove dies, the fridge dies. Now, it's not the stove and fridge are not critical for me. I don't even know I have them plugged in. Like it's not like I'm really using them. But the fridge, like my buddy Paul has a smaller fridge. I might take it and take that one out for scrap. It just like again, it's like running that thing with nothing in it. It's like is what it is. So I don't mind the idea of doing renos in here, but I'm not going to build the Taj Mahal. Like I'm not going to put $10,000 worth of work in here. I might paint just to make it more, spend it say maybe like say $1,000 a year for maybe 2 or 3 years if I need stuff, but have like say 5 to 8 grand over say the next decade just saved up. And roof leaks now again. Okay, fine. 8 grand won't do the roof, but might patch it, right? Like the goal is just to keep this place alive as long as I'm going to be alive. After that, it's somebody else's problem. You know what I mean? So if I get another 20 years out of this place, I mean, the place, parts of it are already 200 years old, 150, 200 years old. I'm sure it could last, if like for next year, I'll probably go up and, check all the roof screws, refasten them down if I need to. Oh, about the snow on the veranda. Yes, I already am aware of that. Yes, the veranda was added on after, yes. The weight of the snow, that's why I got my roof rake down here. That was one of the things I always complained with my brother about. So like, come grab the roof rake and pull those big heavy, like I don't, like I'll leave, say maybe about a foot on there or 6 inches a foot. That's fine. It's not it can handle that. Even when wet. But any more than that, no, you got to pull it off for sure. The one thing about this roof is, even though it's not the steepest of pitch, I don't know if it's a 512 or a 612, whatever it is, but I could tell you that this roof does slide pretty good. Believe it or not, especially once the sun hits it, because it's a dark brown roof, right? So that's why I like tin, But no, I'll leave a little bit on there. just so when I do use the roof rake, I'm not like I can walk on this roof. I know I can. Well, I have put it on there. Um, yeah, I was along. It was well. I helped like the last. I think it was like this section. Like I came up that I was living in town. I came up to visit my folks, and my dad and my uncles were putting it up, and they were just finishing up. So I helped them with some tin. I came up and helped them, put the tin in place, and then stuff like that. About 5, 6 years ago, or probably maybe 10 years ago, I did the roof screws over at my uncle's right over there. I guess it was about 10 years ago. I built that basically garage shed that he has. It was just him and I, but like because basically you might as well say I built it. Like I'd put the sheet of plywood up and he'd just hold it because he can't climb ladders. So he's an older man, bad knees and all that. So basically I was just nail gun everywhere. It's like screws and nail gun, right? I did all that tin. You could like he handed me the sheet and just held it in place enough for me to get a screw or two in. And you might as well say I did the ridge cap, everything myself. That was the most painful fucking ridge cap I ever did. Just the way I was on it because it's a barn roof like that. Oh, my arse was sore for like a week. It's like I hate doing ridge caps. Like, it's like you just because you get up there and you just get so freaking cramped, and getting the last two sheets on of the tin on that place was gable ends like that there. Oh, it was a bitch. It was a real bitch. I did it though, because it was like because he couldn't really help me, right? Like basically what he did is he had a board underneath the tin and just try to like prop it up as high as he could so I could get the screw in. And I had to kind of like fight with it with one hand and try to not drop this. Like I must have dropped 15 fucking screws trying to put the first screw in, right? So, but I got it done. So this one it was just a little bit there. It wasn't too bad. But the nice thing about the tin now, it's like it's covered, right? That tin's probably going to outlast the grandkids. You know what I mean? Your grandkids. But the grommets on the screws won't. Those will leak about after, say, 5 years. You start getting leaks, and that's what I'm going to find out next spring when I go up in there because I didn't get a chance to really get in there to see what the situation of the attic is. So I'm gonna want to do the bags of screws. Okay, if you spend $150 in screws, it's $150. That's not to me is not a renovation. Pull one out, toss it in the scrap metal bin, put a new one in. Just do that, and then when you're done, get the tar paint. And I did this to Joe's roof. The mayor's right now. Her dad used to be the mayor. Now the mayor's daughter is now the mayor. But I used to do his roof all the time. Then I stopped getting up on roofs just because if I ever did fall off his roof, I'd be dead. It's like 3 stories up. So, but I did all that because it was leaking and everything. I pulled out all the screws, put them in, tired them, stuff like that. Did it quite a bit. Did it quite a bit for him. And I stopped doing it, and then Adam started doing it because he was younger than me and stuff like that. And I don't know if he still does it or not. But yeah, like when I tarred that one and I tarred that one, my uncle's, I don't think he's ever said it leaked after that. And I know Joe said it stopped leaking after I did that. And it was just basically leaking through the screw heads. So here, I don't know how much leakage I would have. Judging by the ceiling, not too much, because if it's leaking out there, you're going to see it on these little tiles. Like if there's any sort of moisture, they stain right away, right? So that's kind of good and bad. It's bad because it looks horrible, but it's good because if you have a problem right away. Like if it leaks for a week, you could have a tile on the floor. You know what I mean? So my hunch is that the roof is still pretty darn good that way. The veranda, like I say, as long as I keep the main weight off of it, it should be fine. Keep a little on there, it's fine. The up at the house, I do the same thing. Like after you get a foot, I start going nuts with the roof right there. I'll spend the day I'll do there. I'll do my sometimes I'll do my uncle's here. I'll do my other uncle's up by his chimney. If it starts getting too much on the chimney, I'll climb the ladder. And it's 25 feet in the air. You got to go up just to get up there, and just to get because he's got a barn shaped roof, which there's advantages to that, but one of them isn't snow sliding off, especially when you got shingles. I fucking hate shingles. Shingle roof has got to be the worst roof ever. They look nice, but if you're ever up on a roof and you got loose shingles, it's like it's death. Like last year when I did that other roof, like the shingles were so bad on it, like you'd step and pieces of it were breaking off, and it's like it was trying to snow scoop it and stuff like that. And it's just like like I'm at that age where I can't get away with stuff like that anymore. What I mean? Like it's like it's a bit of money, but it's also you fall once. That's it. You're not going to get compensation. You're not going to get. They'd probably never give you disability, and then you can't work when you're crippled. You know what I mean? Crippled up or busted up and broken legs and stuff like. So it's not worth it. That's why a lot of guys just aren't doing roofs now. I don't get on them. I tell people if I can get it with the roof rake, I'll do it. But if I can't get it with the roof rake, I ain't going on the roof. It's not worth it. Like before 2020, yeah, I'd take the risk. It wasn't an age thing. It was just like, okay, the hospitals are, yeah, they're not perfect, but you're going to get, you should be okay. You know what I mean? Now it's like I'm not sure. Like what I mean? Like they've made so many cuts, stuff like that it could be it could be your life. You know what I mean? The treatment's going to take forever. It was already bad. Now it's like you might have to wait 5 years just to do physiotherapy or something. So like for a couple of bucks, I'm a poor man. I'm used to being poor. I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? No use hurting myself. Plus, I'm not as agile as I used to be either. You know what I mean? Like I'm still pretty agile for a 52-year-old. But who's the same the other day? I get this all the time. They're like, "Oh, Reg, you're 52. I didn't think you were that old." I'm like, "Yep, I'm that old." Who was saying that to me the other day? They were just like, but it's because I act so immature because they see me on skateboards and stuff like that in the summer, right? So even this year, I didn't hardly skateboard at all and stuff like that. It's just, I didn't have the time, and I like stuff like that is not the same. But I did a lot of biking this year, so I was kind of happy on myself for that. I really want to get a good road bike for next year. I gotta say though that freaking Super Cycle, that's the second one I've owned, and that was given to me. Well, the client I work for today, it was his widow that I work for today. It seems like anytime I'm in a bind, it's something that he gave me or she gave me that bails me out. He must be my guardian angel or something. I miss him. He was a good man. He was a very good man. I do have to read one of his books. He wrote a book about all his fishing adventures, and my aunt has it right now, and I really want to read it because he was just an interesting guy to work for. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy working for his widow and stuff like that. Very, very, very nice lady. They've always treated me so good. Like when the apocalypse hit back in 2017, and then I was out of work or out of no longer a YouTuber, a full-time YouTuber by 2019 when they took down my other channel. They were the first people I started working for, trying to get back and build my reputation again as a guy that, okay, I'm available for work. It took me like 3 years just to start getting clients. Paul and I next year, there's going to be a big switch around. We had a big client shuffle. Well, Paul had a big client shuffle this year. Like it was like there's a whole people sold their places, stuff like that. So we don't know. We might be looking for new clients next year. More him than me because I've pretty much got a full roster. But I know this year, like with Greg, the new guy, I could have used them probably for at least the side of the hills and stuff. Like next year, I have a hunch that I'm going to need them. if he's able to do that kind of work. He's the same age as me. He might be 2 years older. We're all in our 50s, right? So it's like, okay, old man, come and work with me. you know, I got to see what he's like with chainsaws and stuff. You know, if he's not safe with chainsaws, or just doesn't have the experience, I got to give him the shit job, right? Which is hauling the branches up the hill, and yeah, I'll help with that. But it's just like I want to see how good he is with a saw. Like, I know he doesn't work in the bush. He didn't grow up that way. He's a city guy that moved to the country, but he's willing to learn, right? So it's just, if I'm gonna be working with anybody, I don't mind them using my chainsaws and stuff like that, but I want to make sure they're not gonna be ramming the bar on the ground every 5 seconds. Especially the way I freaking start. Guys, if you saw how I sharpened that saw the last time, oh my god, it was so good. I was just like, I love this fucking thing. It's like, it was so fast. It went through those maple blocks like very impressively. I know it's not a 500i, but it's so good. It was just so good. Those last 8 blocks that I cut on that maple tree, we're talking 16-inch blocks. It's like, that's how you sharpen a freaking saw, man. Original chain, original bar, a year old, and that thing went, like, I think it was cutting better than the factory cut. Like, that says a lot. Like, I mean, it's like I went a little bit crazy with the rakers. That's why. So it was a little bit grabby. It was a little bit grabby, but did it ever go? But that said, if I'm going to hand a saw like that to somebody, I want to make sure they know what they're doing, because like, that thing would go through you pretty fast. You know what I mean? And the thing is it's light for its size. That's what makes it dangerous. Like, a lighter, small saw, everybody thinks the smaller saws are safer. They're not. They're no more dangerous, but they're definitely not safer. What makes them more dangerous than a bigger saw is that people think that they're safer. It says no, it's a saw. This saw is at 12,000 RPM. This saw is at 12,000 RPM. You don't want to be touched by either of them. Dull chain, sharp chain. A dull chain would be even worse, because it would rip you apart rather than cut straight through you. But yeah, like, for example, next year, things I got to get: chainsaw pants, big time. A cant dog. I'd like to be able to get the backpack blower in the spring, and because I know the backpack blower will pay for it, because Paul and I kind of need 2 of them. And like, it's one of those tools that if you have it in the truck, you'll use it about every 5 times you do something. It seems like if it's there, you use it, right? And then I want one real big boy saw, and then that'll be like the last big boy saw, and then I can, I'm not saying that'll be my last chainsaw. Like, I'd like to have a full roster of chainsaws, one for every size. Maybe not one for every size, but I love the little ones. But, like, for example, the pole arm chainsaw, if I got into more tree pruning and stuff like that, I'd invest in the bigger one that goes out to 27 feet. Because it's kind of one of those things, if you have it, you get the job, right? It's like, oh, wow, there's that branch way up there. Oh, I can't reach it even with my pole arm chainsaw. Like, I'm good up to 10 feet, right? Coming down my driveway, my dad's driveway the other day, that was awesome. It's like, you go up there, and it's like the branches aren't hitting people's vehicles. As soon as it snows, you know which branches to take. You know what I mean? I did that for my client. Like, it's a really cool tool. It really is. It really is. Like, it does one thing, but it does it so freaking bloody well. Next year I'll be, really going nuts with the, cutting the, with the pole arm chainsaw to cut down those trees. I don't know how much cutting I'm going to do this winter. Like, I thought about it, like, get a head start on it and stuff like that. I might, but then, like, by the springtime, you got stumps this high everywhere, and it's like, if I fell a tree a week, in this yard, okay, it'd take me forever to do it. But if I fell that little bushel there, that little bushel, by the end of the summer, you got like I say, it'll take me about 3 years to get everything. But if I get down to, like, say, working 3 days a week, if I made enough money that I could work 3 days a week, like make money, say, ad revenue would come up or something like that. Then I could spend like 1 day a week just with the saw. Go cut the wood in the morning. Okay, fine. Afternoon, drop a couple of trees in the yard. In the branches. Like there's probably going to be about, well, if you go with every size of tree from this to well, some of those Manitoba maples are kind of big, and plus all the branches, you're probably talking a couple of hundred cuts. Like probably a minimum of 200 trees. Various different sizes, maybe more, maybe 300 trees. But they're not all monsters. Now, monster trees, probably going to be about 50 or 60 of them. 50 or 60 of them, especially in the garden. And then I got to prune all the apple trees, and then I got to prune all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, but that'll be in the spring. You know what I mean? And then the brush cutting again and all that good stuff. So I think that even if I don't get it all done this spring coming, that I'll get so much done that it'll lay the framework for the layout of the property of what I want to do to it. Because I still got to get permission to do things. Like if I want livestock, I got to get permission from everybody that they're okay that I get that, right? Remember, I'm just renting the place. I don't own it, but I don't think any of them would have any issue with it. But like, let's say I got a little horse or something like that. Like a horse that I could actually afford to take care of. Problem is, I know I can't afford a horse, but I'd love to have one, just because it's a farm, right? It's like this is the farmhouse. This is the I'd love to be able to go horseback riding up into the mountain there. I'll walk the horse up there and then ride around with him. It'd be great. It'd just be great. And then between maybe myself and my neighbor Ricky, when they don't have any horses anymore, but when they did, that used to be a riding school and everything there. The previous owner over him. Now he might sell the place, so if he sells the place, he says people are looking at it, but he's no takers yet. My buddy Paul sold his place. Congratulations to him. I'm so proud of him, and he did it in under a month. I'm so happy for him. But it's it would be cool, whoever the new neighbor is, if they were horse people, because that could work to my advantage. Anyway, because the thing is if there was a nice trail, right, and a good cooperation between us and the neighbor, okay, and they were proven to be, reliable horse people or whatever, we could make money. They'd have to pay all the insurances and everything like that, but we could have a nice little scenic trail through our property if everybody was okay with it, and they could pay us a fee, per month. Maybe they say, okay, an extra $1,000 a month or $3,000 a month or something like that, if we can use, a particular trail, because we can't really hunt anymore back here because there's going to be houses in every direction, right? A couple of years ago, before the development back there, which sucks, there was nothing for, at least 30 miles that way into the center of I call it it's like, instead of the Bermuda Triangle, the Danforth Triangle. It's like basically the highway goes like this, from Danforth to Otter Lake, and then from Otter Lake around through Kaywood. It comes around like this, right? And in here, there's nobody, and it's no man's land. It's completely no man's land. Like, people don't realize how big this freaking country actually is. It's huge. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So that's something. And even if not that, just for myself, and maybe, like I say, if I had two horses, two riding horses. I don't need pure, I don't need thoroughbreds. I don't need purebreds. I forget what to call it's kind of like a house horse or whatever. It's basically just it could be anything. It could be a bit of anything. And you get a horse, and then you can ride them, whatever. And I don't want a big horse. I'd be looking for a smaller statured horse, but something that you could ride them a bit. And if not ride them, hook them up to a buggy. I think I'd rather have a buggy behind a horse, because I think that'd be easier on the horse. You know, a nice little skinny little horse. And I'd ride him all over. Bring a bag of oats and a bunch of water for him, and go to the neighboring town. Okay, take him out for his morning stroll. Go to the neighboring town. When we get there, tie him up. Go get my provisions for the day. Talk to people, whatever. Ride him around the town a bit. Say hi to people. Head back home. Do that to him maybe once every 2 weeks or whatever. Whatever the horse would be up for. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those horses that just loves to go and go and go. Okay, take him out every day. You know what I mean? But a little buggy would be really cool, and then a sleigh in the wintertime. I think that would be so cool. Just go up the side road or whatever. Take people with you. Take my nephew. Take some of the other little kids. Whatever. Just take them on a little sleigh ride. Go through the field and the park. I'd love that. That'd be great. And then in the springtime, everybody's like, "Why is there horse shit everywhere?" I don't know, man. Wasn't me. The horse would be like, "Wasn't me, it's Marvin." Yeah. So it's like, but I think that would be a lot of fun. It's just the problem is you have to dedicate so much time to that. So, like I say, to have a horse, you almost need to be independently wealthy. Like chickens, you can leave them for the day. You know what I mean? And you come back and they still got water. They still got this. They still got that, and they're in their pen, right? A horse, yeah, he might be out there in the field somewhere, and you got to go find him. Make sure he's not dead or something eating him or whatever. Horses get colic. Like, don't give them too many apples and carrots. So I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that it's something I know I would love, like to have. Get a donkey. Like just have a little donkey, just because there's, especially a baby donkey. There's nothing cuter than a baby donkey. Maybe the little Billy, the little flying squirrel that was in my bedroom last night. I'm gonna try to catch him. I heard him making a big ruckus in there. I was like, what? I thought it was a mouse at first, and I was just like, "What the fuck is that? That's obviously not a mouse." And I go and I'm looking around the room, and I can hear him just kind of scrubbling around there, and I saw a pillow leaned up against the wall in my bedroom up there. Pull it back, and he's in there. "Hey, what's up?" Big googly freaking flying squirrel eyes. And he's like, "Yeah, I just woke up, man. What's up? And I'm gonna keep you up all night. I'm gonna run under your bed. I might run over your head." Yeah, little buggers. But anyway, so I'm gonna. God knows how he got in. Like, he could have got into. I know last year there was two of them in there, and like they sleep in the wood pile. So like during the day you don't know they're there, but at night you hear all this ruckus. Something gets knocked over, and it's like, "Oh, you little buggers, what are you doing?" And anyway, yeah, so I got to kick him out, and then all those things. So I am excited for next year for sure. It's gonna be a long winter. I mean, we're halfway through, but the year is going fast, But it's like January, February, time slows down. There's no doubt about that. And by March, you're just like your cabin fever is like at like you're almost in lunatic mode by that time. And that's and I'm crazy to start off with, right? So I mean, you gotta factor that in there. But hopefully, I'll have a lot of songs for you. Maybe, Oh, if I could ever be independently wealthy, like the potential of this place would be, like I said, I've never put a lot of money into this place because part of the charm is that it's a place I grew up in. You know what I mean? Or visited enough. My childhood here with my grandparents and stuff. But the barn and the stables, what I would do with those if they were ever mine. The granary I want to keep for nostalgia's sake. I might even move it. I might move it, but I would knock down both the barn and the stable and build one super barn stable, right? And just to lower the taxes. But like the loft, for example, would just be a little bit higher. Maybe it'd be 3 stories high instead of 2. Whatever I would do, make the barn, not quite the size of the two of them combined because. Really, the barn is big enough. The stable is big enough. Because you see, the way it is, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horses. So it was what they had. And then they had pigs in the background. And then I don't know what was in the other room, if they actually had something in there. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe they had another couple of horses in there. And the cows went into the barn, right? So you had the stable and you had the barn. And then also in the barn there was pigs. And then on the side of that is the chicken coop. Now the chicken coop is dilapidated. The barn is still functional, but I would knock the two of them down and build one good one and face it more this way and a little more over so it's not falling off the freaking cliff there. And then what I would do is keep the granary or whatever, or move the granary, just because of the nostalgia of it. That's the only reason why I want to keep it. And just fence in it all and just let the animals do their animal things and whatever. That'd be really good. But I'd also build the stable big enough that, okay, not only can you have horses and pigs and ducks and cows and whatever in there, but also that I could bring vehicles in there and there'd be power in there too. So that's what I would do. That's how it would work. And it just have to be big enough. Like really, it wouldn't have to be much bigger than here. Just it has to be high enough to get vehicles in. That's all. Like a 16-foot door, so that if you ever had to put a tractor or something big in there, maybe an 18-wheeler or whatever, you could do that, and then have all the other farm. Maybe you put a combine in there or whatever. I mean, like this place could be farmed again, right? But like the investment, the farm and stuff like that. Like I mean, it's like there's almost no money in it, right? So it's one of those things. But it would be a cool way to make a, like a way to make a living or whatever if you could make a living with it. But anyway, I guess that's all the babbling I'm going to do for now because I'm got to get some drumming in and then I got to get some other things done too. All right, there we go.